It's the Ross Tucker Football Podcast.
Oh, yeah, it is. But it's not just any Ross Tucker Football Podcast, because I never do that to you. It is a Monster Monday, presented, of course, by DraftKings, where I give you my big picture takeaways from the weekend that was in the NFL, as well as the only things you really need to take away from each and every game. I don't even know. Oh, week 14. Is it week 14 in the NFL? One more game tonight, Cardinals and Patriots. But I'm going to tell you my thoughts on all the other games. The only things you only need to take away from them. It is a new week, which does mean we have new winners. Spread the winner via social media. I'm looking for a new TikTok follower. We are killing it on TikTok. Evidently, I can't call him intern Jack anymore. He's more or less producer Jack. Has been killing it with our videos on TikTok. So we're going to pick a TikTok follower this week to be the spread the word winner at Ross Tucker NFL on TikTok. He's done an unbelievable job with those videos. Sponsor confirmation email winner is someone that takes advantage of any of our awesome sponsors. Got a new one this week, FitBod. Masterworks, been a cool way to diversify the portfolio. Simply Safe is a must. And First Leaf, my wife and I have been enjoying First Leaf. YouTube shout out, youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL. I've even seen some of those videos are doing really well. A lot of people are commenting on Greg Cosell's video about Russell Wilson. So go to youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL. Just hit the thumbs up real quick. Make a comment, and I'll get a cameo-style video for you. Patron of the day, Eileen Hartman. Welcome to the family, Eileen. Patreon.com/RT Media. Tell you what, after yesterday, everybody should be a patron to follow our bets on the Even Money podcast because we killed it. It's Big Show time.
The Big Show.
All right, Ross, before we get into each of these games from this past weekend, what were your overall themes from week 14 in the NFL?
You know, before I even get to the NFL, I did want to make a comment on the Army-Navy game on Saturday. And I know a lot of you aren't into college football. Certainly, I think the international folks aren't really into it at all. But it was so awesome. I mean, it is my favorite day of the year. It was such an awesome atmosphere always. The march-ons, the flyovers, you know, when they come onto the field. Just a special, special day. It's hard to describe any other way. And then the finality of the game is just like nothing else. Neither one of these teams going to a bowl game. Maybe one or two guys on the field will have a shot at the NFL. Almost all those seniors, pretty much all of them, will never play football again. The agony of the Navy fullback, Anton Hall Jr., after he fumbled was, I mean, he was apoplectic. That was really tough for me. Really tough for me to watch that young man go through that pain and that suffering and that adversity. And then the flip side is Quinn Moretsky, the kicker for Army. And I posted this on my Twitter at Ross Tucker NFL. You're talking about a guy that lost the kicking job as a sophomore, wasn't sure West Point and the military were for him. So he enters the transfer portal, but he'd already been through so much with the other guys on the team that he just couldn't really let that go. He just couldn't really move on from what they call the brotherhood. He stayed, and even this year, he missed an extra point against Troy. And then it was 10-9. He had a 40-yard field goal to make up for it. The game winner at the end, missed it. Army would have gone to a bowl if he made that. But he got another chance at redemption, not once but twice against Navy, the end of regulation and overtime. And I'm so happy for that young man. It was just a really, really cool scene. Jack, you were there. What did you think of your first Army-Navy game? I'm curious to get your thoughts.
It was truly surreal. I can't even just the entire event from just all the opening, just the march ons, and then the parajumpers, the helicopter. I did not realize because I've never been in a game where there's a flyover how low like everything literally flies over. Like the helicopters were. It seemed like they were only like 50 feet above the field. It was insane. I mean, it was just truly an atmosphere. You had Army and Navy opposite of each other on the opposite side of the field from where I was, kind of like cheering for their own team, jeering at each other. But it was truly, like you said and everybody else said, it's a once in a lifetime experience. It's something you have to see.
Bucket list for sure. And Jack, you had a great view of the midshipmen and the cadets because they were at the other side, so you could see them. That was awesome. In terms of the NFL, the one thing I thought was notable actually happened before the games. And that was the NFL is not messing around when it comes to their perception of faking injuries on the field. They are sending a loud and clear message. They realize it's terrible for the television product. They want to nip that thing in the bud immediately because nobody wants the games to be stopped for fake injuries. So if it's questionable, they're going to fine you. You better come up with a different way. I love it. Absolutely love it. It's not gamesmanship. It's garbage. And it's really bad whether you're there live or watching on TV. Nobody likes it. And this is a business. This is about profit. It's about making money. They're not going to let you do things like this that adversely affect the product. So good for the NFL. I fully support that. I also fully support weather games. I know some people, I guess, have different views. I love weather games. I mean, it was definitely a factor up in Buffalo, definitely a factor in New York. It was a factor in Pittsburgh. I mean, it was a real thing that these teams had to deal with. And I like it. Makes it a lot more interesting. You know, I think it's one of the things that separates football from the other sports. Basketball and hockey are indoors. Baseball, if the weather's bad, they don't play. In the NFL, unless it's like a community safety issue, they're going to play. And I think it's awesome. The last thing I would say in terms of just themes, man, the Eagles and 49ers look really good. The Eagles and 49ers, I mean, that's back-to-back games where those two teams, quite frankly, look like they're better than everybody else. I don't know that they are, but the Niners destroyed the Dolphins and the Bucks. The Eagles hammered the Titans and the Giants. And these are potentially playoff-bound teams that the Eagles and 49ers are just really putting it to them. I thought that was one of the big takeaways is, are those teams separating themselves a little bit? I'll tell you how you can separate yourself. It's first leaf. I know it's not easy to find the right wine for holiday dinners, family gatherings, gifts. Stressful. First Leaf does the hard work for you. First Leaf makes holiday wine buying easy and affordable. I went through this. It's really simple and really cool. They ask you specific questions about your personal wine preferences. Do you like this flavor? Yes or no. Do you like that flavor? Yes or no. Based on your answers, and I gave them my answers with my wife, they'll send you for less than what you'd pay at the store some amazing wines. Then you rank those wines moving forward so they get a better sense of what you like, what you don't like. So far, we've been very impressed with the wines that we've had. And it's awesome because you get a bunch of wines. We can have some. We can give some as gifts. Sign up today and you'll get your first 6 bottles for $39.95 plus free shipping. Go to tryfirstleaf.com/Tucker. That's TRYFIRSTLEAF.com/Tucker to get your first 6 bottles for $39.95 plus free shipping. Tryfirstleaf.com/Tucker.
Tuck's Takes.
The Bills offense sputtered, but managed to hold on against the Jets to score a 20-12 victory against the Jets.
Neither offense did that well. The Jets lost Quinnen Williams, which really, really hurts. Looks like he had a calf injury, according to Sports Injury Central, and that's going to hurt. He's their best defensive player. This was a defensive struggle. I mean, the Bills started off real slow, and I think they might have had like 4 drives in a row where they scored points, 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals, but then nothing else again the rest of the game. I don't know what happened there where they had 4 drives in a row that were decent, but they had the Dawson Knox awesome touchdown. They really had to lean on Josh Allen's legs a bunch. He wasn't throwing it great. They couldn't get open against Sauce Gardner. They don't want to use Josh's legs that much, but when they have to win the game, they do. The Bills really struggled on 3rd down. That's typically where the Bills do well. For the Jets, it was just kind of turnovers again. Basically a very similar story to their loss against the Vikings. The only other things that jumped out to me, Mike White is the toughest dude alive. He got folded in half twice. He got hit right in the midsection as he's throwing it, as hard as you can get hit, left the game, came back. I'm incredibly impressed by Mike White's toughness because Rousseau, Epinesa, those guys had their ways with the Jets tackles. They were in the backfield all night. Milano's a stud. The Bills D that got done for him.
Cincinnati wins their 5th straight, beating the Cleveland Browns 23-10.
But they suffered a bad loss too. Broken wrist for Trey Hendrickson, who I think is maybe 2nd in the NFL in quarterback pressures. So broken wrist. I don't know how long he'll be out with that. You can put a cast on at some point, but I don't know how they'll handle that one because they are right there with the Ravens. They're both 9-4. Ravens have the tiebreaker from the head-to-head, but they play against each other again. What was interesting to me about this one, Jack, is T. Higgins played the first play and then not again. I guess he got hurt in pregame warmups. And that sounds to me like a guy that wanted to have the start on his record, like 28 straight starts, or he started the game and then left. And then Tyler Boyd got hurt. So they needed Chase to step up, and that's exactly what Jamar Chase did. I don't know how the Browns let Chase beat them like that without Boyd and Higgins, but they did. I thought Deshaun Watson was much better. Still not quite good enough, obviously, but I thought he was much better. Penalties killed the Browns. They also couldn't run the ball a lick. I mean, Louis Anarumo, the D coordinator for the Bengals, he's doing a really good job of taking away what these teams do best. And for the Browns, that was run the ball, and he took them away, both Chubb and Hunt.
A late touchdown from Ezekiel Elliott helps the Cowboys avoid an upset from the Houston Texans, 27-23.
Wow. The Cowboys were so fortunate after that late Dak interception. There was only like 2 minutes left in the game. They're down 3, and the Texans get the ball in their territory. I was thinking I would probably on that from the 2.5-yard line, probably would have kicked the field goal to go up 6 and make them score a touchdown. But I'm okay with what Lovey did. I am, because even if you don't get it, you make the Cowboys go 98 yards to beat you as opposed to just getting the field goal. And they did. They did it. Drive of the season, quite frankly, for the Cowboys to stay alive in the NFC East, because they got to hope the Eagles trip up one game and they got to beat them head to head on Christmas Eve. But I hated the play call late in that drive or by the Texans on 4th and goal. It looked to me like Jeff Driscoll went the wrong way, or he pivoted out the wrong way on 4th and goal. Not good. They tried to go with the speed option. Not a fan of it. Huge play by DeMarcus Lawrence on 3rd down late in the game from like the 1-inch line. Even on 2nd down, the Texans thought they scored. The Texans thought they scored a touchdown. The field goal team ran on. But I forget who it was. Maybe Moore was just short. And then the TFL for Lawrence on 3rd and goal changed everything. That is a gigantic win for the Cowboys. I can't believe the Texans were even in it without Brandon Cooks or Nico Collins at receiver. They split the quarterback reps evenly between Driscoll as well as Davis Mills. I will say this for the Texans. They can draft because Stingley's good. Jalen Petrie in the 2nd round is a stud. And I even thought Amari Rodgers, who they got off waivers from the Packers, did some good things for them.
Jared Goff and the Lions run over the Vikings 34-23 with Detroit, not Detroit, Detroit, now just one game under 500.
They're kind of in the mix, aren't they? I mean, looking at the NFC playoff picture, right now it would be the Cowboys, Commanders, and Giants. But then you have the Seahawks lurking and the Lions right behind them. So don't look now, but the Lions actually have a shot at this thing. Makes you agonize over some of the games they lost earlier in the year. You know, the Vikings were really shorthanded in this one. And I'll be curious to see how many of them they have back on Saturday when they host the Colts. I'll be calling that game for Westwood One. So if you're driving around Christmas shopping or whatever, make sure you tune in. The Vikings didn't have left tackle Christian Darrisaw, no center Garrett Bradbury, Harrison Smith didn't play. That's a lot. For them, that's a lot. Jameson Williams, welcome to the NFL. I think it was his first catch, wide open touchdown. I have no idea why the Vikings didn't cover him, but they didn't. I would say the story of this game was probably just Dan Campbell's guts. 4th and 7, fake punt deep in your own territory. Wow. That led to the Josh Reynolds touchdown. How about Penei Sewell? 3rd and 7, late in the game. And by the way, this cost me my teaser on the Even Money podcast. They put Sewell as a tight end, send him in motion, and throw him the ball on an out route. It wasn't even a great ball from Goff. It was almost behind him a little bit. He had to turn his body around. Incredible. I just can't believe they did that. You deserve to win if you do stuff like that and you're successful. Might have been Kirk Cousins' best game of the year. He was awesome. Justin Jefferson went nuts, but it wasn't enough because the Vikings allowed over 400 yards for the 5th straight game. Vikings defense just isn't good enough right now.
The Eagles become the first team this season to scare a playoff bid, destroying the Giants on the road 48-22.
The Giants did have Saquon, but he didn't really do that much or even play that much dealing with that neck or shoulder injury. They also didn't have Leonard Williams. I mean, at this point, I don't really know what to say about the Eagles other than they're just really, really good. Thoroughly impressed by Jalen Hurts' poise. He was especially impressive in the first half where they threw the ball all over the Giants. I mean, there was even A.J. Brown had a drop. Devontae Smith missed a couple that he could have caught. Hurts maybe had 1 or 2 bad throws, but for the most part, he was on the money. The special teams for the Eagles, much better. The Eagles D-line, they might have 4 guys end up with double-digit sacks. I mean, that is wild. Absolutely wild. They got 4 games left. There's a decent chance of that. Sweat, Graham, Hargrave, Reddick's already there. For the Giants, they were just outmanned. I said this on Twitter, Jack. I don't know what the answer to it is. At Ross Tucker NFL. I don't know how many Giants would start for the Eagles. Probably Saquon. Maybe Andrew Thomas. Maybe probably DeMarcus Lawrence. I mean, or Dexter Lawrence, I'm sorry. The thing is, though, like even all of those, it's not like obvious. It's not like by a big margin that they would start. Second half, Eagles just ran it down their throats. Giants ended up getting 22 points. I thought Daniel Jones did okay again. Look at the difference in the personnel for these teams.
Anthony Brown unexpectedly steps in for the Ravens, defeating Mitchell Trubisky and the Steelers in a battle of the backups, 16-14.
There were some vicious hits yesterday. I mean, vicious. And guys getting bent back over themselves. Like Tyler Huntley got hurt on an unbelievable collision from Minkah Fitzpatrick. Anthony Brown came in and pretty much just handed the ball to J.K. Dobbins. Trubisky came in because Pickett got slammed to the ground by Roquan Smith. So both teams lost their quarterbacks in this game. I thought J.K. Dobbins looked really good for Baltimore in return. Trubisky did a lot of positive things until they would get to the red zone and he would throw a pick. You cannot be doing that. You cannot be serious. Thought Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen dominated this football game. This game was not on the red zone that much because there weren't that many touchdowns. You can, though, see the red zone on Sling TV. Forget about high prices, endless contracts. Sling is the most valuable option when it comes to finding your favorite channels with the best deal for sports, news, entertainment, best live TV content all in one place at the lowest price. You know, you can watch every touchdown live every Sunday afternoon with NFL Red Zone on Sling. For a limited time, get Sling Blue and add on Sports Extra with NFL Red Zone for half off your first month. Regular's $46, now only $23. So you get the best deal on Red Zone so you can catch all the touchdowns at the lowest price with Sling TV. Visit sling.com/DraftKings to sign up today.
The Titans continue to unravel, losing miserably to the Jaguars at home 36-22.
So what's wild about this game is the Titans were dominating early. I mean, I thought the Jags defense was like embarrassing. I think Derrick Henry had 98 yards in the first quarter as they were just running through them like Swiss cheese. Give all kinds of credit to the Jags defense. They decided enough is enough. They stuffed them in the second half. And talk about vicious blows. I can't remember who it was. Maybe Quarterman. Somebody destroyed Derrick Henry. Like, that's why I am amazed that he's still this productive with all of the contact he's taken. His body, man, holy cow. Jags forced 4 turnovers. That was obviously the key to the game. It's funny because, like, even after every loss for the Titans, you look and you're kind of like, they're still all right. I mean, they're still 2 games up on anybody else in their division. They're pretty clearly going to be the 4 seed and more than likely host the AFC North runner-up. At any rate, probably the most notable thing in terms of takeaways, this is another game in which Trevor Lawrence was incredible. So he was incredible against the Ravens, not good against Detroit, but incredible again against Titans. Throwing the ball to Evan Ingram, of all people. Evan Ingram. So that's 2 out of the last 3 games. Trevor Lawrence has looked like a legit dude.
The Broncos score over 24 points for just the first time this season, but it's not enough to beat the Chiefs, who win 34-28.
This was kind of a wild game. I have never seen a player in the NFL that so consistently makes the incredible look routine, or who does something seemingly we've never seen before almost every game. I don't even know what to call the throw from Mahomes to McKinnon. It was like a hook shot. I mean, like a ridiculous hook shot from Patrick Mahomes to McKinnon for a touchdown. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. You know, I don't know how he does it. Interestingly, even after the pick six by the Chiefs to go up 27-0 by Willie Gay, the Broncos scored 21 straight. Russell Wilson was showing some signs of life. Now, it was short fields after Mahomes' interceptions because Mahomes had 3 interceptions. Very uncharacteristic, but Russell Wilson finding Jerry Jeudy. Then when he got hurt on a concussion, on a very long, gutsy run by Russell, I give him a lot of credit, man. That young man, I guess he's not that young anymore, but doing everything he possibly could to try to win that game. But he got concussed. Rippon came in and ripped one to Jerry Jeudy to keep them going. But it just wasn't enough. I did think it was cool that the Broncos offense showed some signs of life late. But just when you thought they had a chance, Mahomes makes another ridiculous, does like a spin loop-de-doo thing in the pocket, gets smashed by 3 Broncos as he's throwing a touchdown pass. It's just incredible. Pacheco and McKinnon, by the way, providing a pretty good 1-2 punch for the Chiefs. I like that.
Carolina with a massive upset on the road against the Seahawks, 30-24, put them just one game behind first place in the NFC South.
Well, they just ran them over. 3 different backs. Foreman, Hubbard, even Speedy Blackshear from Archbishop Wood getting in on the act. School outside of Philly. Might have been, but the story of the game is Seattle's run defense. It's not good enough. They couldn't even stop him late. Probably Geno's worst game. Although I'll say this, Carolina's got some legit guys on defense. Jeremy Chin, J.C. Horn, Frankie Louvu, Brian Burns, Derek Brown, Shaq Thompson. That's actually a pretty intriguing job for the next head coach. NFC South is a mess. We'll get to that with the next game.
Brock looks pretty good for the 49ers, obliterating the Buccaneers in San Francisco 35-7.
Did you say Brock looks pretty good?
Yes.
You know what's amazing about that?
What's that?
I said on Twitter yesterday, Jack, at Ross Tucker NFL, I said, let me be the first to say that Brock looks pretty good out there. And a bunch of people replied back, you're not the first, dude. You're not the first. Like, hey, buddy, that's the joke. That's what makes it funny. No kidding, I'm not the first. Gosh. Unreal. Anyway, I'll say this. His legs are a major positive factor for the Niners. His ability, his second reaction ability, they didn't really have that with Garoppolo. That's a big-time added element that really helps them. Purdy's ability and willingness to run at times, that's a really nice thing for them. I'd also say it's really nice that Christian McCaffrey looks so healthy, so fast. I mean, he looks good, really good. The big negative for the Niners, Deebo Samuel went down, carted off, didn't look good. But Sports Injury Central, Dr. Chow, they don't believe it's a season ender. They're saying high ankle sprain. So we'll see when he can get back. For the Bucs, they're just bad. They're a bad team. I mean, let's just call it like it is. Brady throws a bomb to wide open Mike Evans. There's a hold on Donovan Smith, which was absolutely a hold. Unacceptable. Just bear hugging the defensive end. And he had help from his guard. Just so poor by Donovan Smith to do that. Other penalties killed the Bucs too. They're just not good.
Tua Tagovailoa has arguably his worst game of the season, throwing 10 of 28 for 145 yards, highlighting a Dolphins 23-17 loss to the Chargers.
Well, first of all, you really butchered his last name. Second of all, Sunday Night Football is the perfect time for Labatt Blue Light. There's no better way to watch a Sunday Night Football game. You're winding down. The work week starts the next day, or Monday night for that matter. We got Monday night tonight. And with the Patriots and the Cardinals, you might need a few cold Labatt Blue Lights in your hand. I love now that I get text messages or tweets about the pristine Canadian goodness. Awesome. Stock up, be the MVP of your tailgate. Share Labatt on game day with your crew. Always enjoy responsibly beer. Labatt USA, Buffalo, New York. As for the game, no Derwin James for the Chargers. No problem. Thought Tua was horrible. Like surprisingly bad in this game. And that's back-to-back bad games for him. So I'll be curious to see what the conversation is around Tua this week. Very curious. He did have a nice pass to Tyreek Hill for a touchdown, but that was honestly about it. I mean, he was a rough watch. Their other touchdown was Tyreek Hill with like a 65-yard fumble recovery touchdown. Not sure I've ever seen that before. Meanwhile, for the Chargers, Justin Herbert was incredible. I mean, incredible. A lot of it was to Mike Williams, who was in his first full game back for a while. He's just an awesome big target, contested catch, sideline catch guy. Honestly, if the Dolphins didn't have Christian Wilkins in the backfield the whole night, especially early in the game, this game probably should have been a blowout. Doesn't actually bode that well for the Chargers that it wasn't, but they ultimately got it done. A lot of you guys get it done every week by being, I think we're done here, members of patreon.com/RTmedia, like myfrontpagestory.com, the single greatest gift you can get for anyone. 13 days before Christmas, you still have time to make them the centerpiece of a front page story. Backofficescheduler.com, Vision Comics with an X, Evergreen Economics, go-bengals.com, steakhousesports.com, humanheadnyc.com, Sporticulture, and Pizza Boy Brewing. College Draft. It's bowl season already, believe it or not. We'll dive into the biggest bowls, or the bowls this week at least, and the best prospects with Emery a little bit later this morning. I think we're done here.
Thanks for listening to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Make sure to also subscribe to the Fantasy Feast, Even Money, Business of Sports, and College Draft. All available at Apple Podcasts, rosstucker.com, or wherever podcasts can be found.